My name is Tim Butler. I'm the St. Paul Fire Chief, and I'd like to thank the establishment and all the neighbors here for coming out to today's fundraiser for the Haslak family. We've got a couple of awards here that we're going to recognize, but I just wanted to say that this whole event, not only this, but the event that triggered this, is a great example of neighbor helping neighbor. And that's what it's all about in St. Paul. That's how our fire department started 157 years ago, neighbor helping neighbor. And the events on February 9th when there was a fire on Marion is another great example of what brings us closer as a community and what makes us the safest place to live in America. So thank you for coming out today, and thank you for supporting the Haslak family. You're all great neighbors. Well, as you know, on February 9th, there was an early morning fire on Marion Street. And what transpired, I'm going to kind of give you an overview of the incident. And I'm going to introduce some real key players up here and let them tell their story. And then we're going to give them some awards that recognize the values of what we stand for, neighbor helping neighbor. So Laura Haslak, where's Laura? Laura Haslak was in the downstairs of the fire on 1070 Marion. And her daughter was upstairs with Thomas Lofton and Thomas and Alexana, age 7 and age 4. So there's 2 adults and 2 children upstairs, an adult downstairs. An arsonist came, torched the back of the house. There's only one way to get out of the upstairs, at least only one way that we thought about, and that's what he chose to torch. Other neighbors heard the screaming and noticed the flames, and I want to introduce those folks now. Maria and Walter Acosta and their son Jesse. Okay, Maria and Walter. These folks came. They brought mattresses from their own home. They got over to the home. And Maria was actually instrumental in throwing sticks and rocks at the upstairs window to wake up the people upstairs because they didn't know they had a fire. We also had Greg and Amber Ostenson. They were the other next door neighbors. Yay. And they came over to the house also, and this group of neighbors helped the family escape through the windows. And basically the 2 children were dropped down from the 2nd floor window into the waiting arms of these neighborhood rescuers. And then the fire department arrived and got the 2 adults out from upstairs and put the fire out. So a great effort. We can't do this alone. None of us can, whether we're civilians or firefighters. We all have to work together. And this is a great example of that. So I'm going to start with maybe Laura. Can you give us kind of what happened, and then we'll just go right down the line, and everyone can tell their story, and then you guys can all ask them questions later because they're all heroes. Thank you.
Hi. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who's supported us. It's overwhelming, and just thank you to the firefighters for helping us out, and of course my neighbors. And on that morning, I woke up. It was kind of a strange pounding noise, and I still don't really know what that was, but woke me up, and I went back and discovered there was a fire out back, and started kind of panicking because I knew my daughter and the kids were stuck upstairs and had no other way out, and the stairs were on fire. And so I ran around to the front, and I started screaming my daughter's name, and of course Maria and Walter were right there. They came running out, and we together started throwing things, anything we could find, up at the windows to try and wake them up. And so then pretty soon Amber and Greg came out, and Maureen, and all together somehow, I have a lot of blanks and I don't remember everything, but I know they were there, and Allison finally woke up, and they smashed the window out and dropped the kids down to us, and with the help of my neighbors, we caught them. And then the firefighters were there, and so, yeah, that's what happened. And I guess I don't know what else to say, but just thank you to everybody, and especially my heroes, my neighbors. So, thank you.
Okay, I'm not really comfortable in front of cameras and everything, but yeah, I don't want to overlook the fire department, St. Paul Fire Department, for what they did on that day, and they do that day in and day out, and I just appreciate that the fire department was just a couple blocks away there, so I know they're on call every day, ready to serve the community, and I'm just so happy that nothing happened to the kids, and the kids are doing good, and I'm just so happy that we were able to recognize the severity of the situation, and my wife and I came out and tried to help Laura, with waking up the family upstairs, Allison and Thomas, and it was pretty hairy. It was pretty intense there for a minute, but the police got there and they took over and just did what they do best. They just took over and put that fire out, and without them doing that, the duplex might have burnt down. So I thank the fire department for what they did, and I don't really think most people would have done what we did. I mean, we're neighbors, and we've known them for a long time, and I was just happy to be able to help out. And Amy and Amber and Greg were our neighbors too, who came over and assisted catching the kids before the fire department got there. But they did a lot to help out too. So, thank you.
Make this a little taller here. Well, if it wasn't for Amber, I'd have never woke up that morning. She got up, went outside, then I heard somebody scream, and I'm thinking to myself, what in the hell is going on outside? Who the hell is screaming? Somebody call the cops and get these people to shut up. When Amber came back running inside, there was a fire. That's just kind of when everything kicked in. Adrenaline took over, you ran outside, and you did what you could to help. I would hope that anybody and everybody would do exactly what we did in the same situation. And again, once the fire department showed up, they took over and handled everything professionally, and the fire was put out, and we were all able to go. I was able to go back to work, and Amber and Maria were able to field all the interviews from the reporters. But definitely a great thanks to the fire department, and to the rest of the neighbors here. Thanks.
Now, Allison and Thomas were upstairs, the two adults, and both of those folks were rescued by the fire department, but they both had to go to the hospital. So the two small children, Alexana and Thomas, had to stay with a neighbor, and I'd like to introduce Maureen Barrett and thank her for her generosity in opening up her home to the two children until the parents and the guardians could get released from the hospital and come back to the children. Maureen?
I think the biggest thing about this is today you look at the family here and think of what it could have been. You can see the structure every day, it's burned out. I think once the adrenaline stopped, the biggest thing you have is what could have been, what could have happened to this family, and that's probably the biggest thing that sticks with me.
Okay, we've got some official awards here. The Department Letter of Commendation is an award given to firefighters when they go above and beyond the call of duty. It's also issued to citizens of St. Paul when they go above and beyond the normal call of duty for a citizen and they go to assist a neighbor that's in trouble. So we have some awards for Jesse, Walter, and Maria Acosta. I know Jesse's not here. I'm going to read the citation. They're all very similar, so I'll just read one. This one's addressed to Maria. Dear Mrs. Acosta, the St. Paul Fire Department values and recognizes decisive and courageous action from our residents in a time of crisis. Neighbor helping neighbor is one important reason why St. Paul is America's most livable city. On the early morning of February 9th, 2012, you and your family woke up to the screams of your neighbor, Laura Haslak. Her house at 1070 Marion Street had just been set on fire. The rear stairs, which were the only way out of the upstairs, for the upstairs residents of the duplex, were ablaze, trapping Laura's daughter, her 2 young grandchildren, and her daughter's boyfriend on the second floor apartment. You and your family immediately came to her aid. While your husband, Walter, brought out a mattress from your own home to cushion their fall, you began yelling and throwing rocks at the bedroom window in an effort to wake up the sleeping family inside. It worked. The 2 adults and 2 children inside woke up and were able to be rescued through the bedroom window by your husband, your son, and other neighbors before the fire department arrived. Your immediate and courageous response to this life-threatening emergency saved the lives of your neighbor's family. With the fire, heat, and deadly smoke heading their way, they only had minutes to survive. It only takes minutes for a house to reach the flashover point where everything combustible ignites, making escape impossible. If you had not acted so quickly and decisively, the family would soon have been overcome by toxic smoke. Your effort in those first few minutes of the fire saved their lives. The St. Paul Fire Department recognizes and rewards outstanding service to the community, and therefore I'm proud to award you this letter of commendation for your courage and compassion for your fellow man. You are a credit to the city of St. Paul, and we are all grateful for your extraordinary efforts. Thank you. Walter, we have a similar award for you. Got to take front and center here. For Amber and Greg Ostenson, we also have a letter of commendation, again recognizing the decisive and courageous action of our residents in times of crisis. And their commendation reads in part, on the morning of February 9, 2012, this one's addressed to Amber. Amber, you and your husband joined other neighbors that heard the screams for help from your neighbor at 1070 Marion Street. Laura Haslak's house had just been set on fire. The rear stairs, which were the only way out for the upstairs residents of the duplex, were ablaze, trapping Laura's daughter, her 2 young grandchildren, and her daughter's boyfriend on their second floor apartment. You and your family immediately came to their aid. You joined with other neighbors to help rescue the 2 children, ages 4 and 7, as they were dropped down to you from the second floor bedroom window of the house, uninjured, before the fire department arrived. Your immediate and courageous response to this life-threatening emergency helped save the lives of your neighbor's family. With the heat, fire, and deadly smoke heading their way, they only had minutes to survive. It only takes minutes for a house to reach the flashover point where everything combustible ignites, making escape impossible. Your efforts in those first few minutes of the fire saved their lives. The St. Paul Fire Department recognizes and rewards outstanding service to the community, and therefore I'm proud to award you this letter of commendation for your courage and compassion for your fellow man. You're a credit to the city of St. Paul, and we're all grateful for your extraordinary efforts. Thank you. Greg, this is for you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And finally, for Maureen Barrett, a letter of recognition. And her award reads very similar to the others. I'll just read the other parts. Other neighbors and St. Paul firefighters rescued the family but had to transport the mother of the children to the hospital due to their injuries received from the fire. You graciously and generously provided warmth and safety for the children in your own home for several hours until their grandmother could arrive. Your caring act of giving aid and comfort to those understandably scared children was immensely helpful to their family and to our firefighters. Having been to your house many times before, the children no doubt felt much more comfortable in your care than almost anywhere else, especially after such a traumatic experience as waking up to find their home filling with heat and smoke and having to be dropped to safety from a second floor window. The St. Paul Fire Department recognizes and rewards outstanding service to the community, and therefore I'm proud to award you this letter of recognition for the aid and comfort you gave to your fellow citizens. You are a credit to the city of St. Paul, and we're grateful for your extraordinary actions. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you. And I'd also now at this time like to introduce St. Paul City Council member Amy Brenmoen. She's here today also, and she has some words to say. Amy, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Amy Brenmoen, the City Council member that represents the North End in this wonderful community. And we just had a long program and a great opportunity to honor some serious heroes. And so I want to make sure that we do give them one more round of applause. And amazing human beings. And then also our firefighters, there's several of them here. If you're a firefighter in the crowd, if you could put up your hand. I saw them coming in. Another group of amazing heroes that serve the city of St. Paul well. And then, but I think it's also very important to say before we leave here today that there's another really amazing group of folks here, and that's the North End community. This group comes together when there's a crisis, and look at us. It's a beautiful sunny day, and there's over 100 people here supporting this family, and it's pretty powerful. And I want to thank you all for being here, for being such a strong community. And to top it off, I want to thank the establishment Tin Cups for hosting this event. Gidget and Joni doing a fabulous job here. A cornerstone of our community, and they really deserve a hand. And we have to point out Gary Hagner, who's also known to some of you as Papa, put together 1,000 meatballs and 45 gallons of sauce to make this event amazing. Gary. So thanks a lot. This community, I'm very, very proud to serve you, and I thank you for everything that we've done to make a positive out of a really awful experience. So thank you very much.